My dad always told me you never know how strong you are until strong is the only option you have. I never understood what he meant until my world was flipped upside down. When I woke up crying at 2 a.m. on that cold, dark morning with a bloody nose and a 103-degree fever for the fourth time that week, I assumed my parents were just being overprotective as always as they rushed me to the hospital. Until I heard the doctor say those dreadful words. You have cancer. As a little 7-year-old girl, I didn't quite understand what the doctor meant, because nothing had ever gone wrong for my family. We had always been the perfect family, as my mom and dad, my older sister Stella, and me. But by the horrified look on my family's face, I knew it couldn't be good. I'll never forget the look on their faces. However, my family never cared about me before the cancer. I was just the youngest, and I was never as smart, or as funny, or even as pretty as Stella. I don't know if it was because I was spontaneous and mischievous, but my family didn't know I was also strong and sensitive. They didn't care, though. I was just Hazel. The cancer changed that. They pretended to care, and I didn't understand. Did they only love me now because I was sick? Following the craziness of finding out I had cancer, I was admitted to a room at the hospital where I would undergo chemo. The nurses told me that I would share the room with a boy who was just a year older than I. That is where the story really begins. Gray. That was the name of the boy I shared a room with. From the minute I walked into that room, we clicked. He was suffering from a heart defect, and at 8 years old, he had already had 7 heart surgeries to try and help. Gray's parents passed away in a car accident when he was 3. His 30-year-old brother Liam had custody over him. Liam was the only family Gray had, and to me that was a complete culture shock. As much as I didn't always feel loved by my family, I also couldn't imagine not having them at all. Part of me felt bad for Gray, but as he told me stories of how his brother always cared about him since day one, and Gray saw him as a best friend, I couldn't help but envy that relationship. Gray was different than the kids I knew. He was reliable, intelligent, and honest. As time went on, we kept telling each other stories of the tests we'd undergo, and how none of our school friends understood why we weren't there or why we couldn't hang out. After 3 months, Gray was my best friend. Every nurse, every doctor, everyone knew it. It was Hazel and Gray. One day, though, things were different between us, and I didn't understand why. Gray and I were laying in our beds as we watched the sun start to set through our window. He said something that I will never forget. Hazel, I don't have much more time with you. I didn't fully comprehend the words that Gray was saying. And Hope, I asked, are you better? Do you get to go home? Right, Gray? He didn't answer. I said with desperation, Gray, right? Please tell me that's what you mean. My heart started beating faster and faster. When Gray finally responded, it wasn't Gray's typical soothing voice, but it was like a cry for help as he said, No, Hazel, I'm not getting better. I'm worse. And this time there's no going back. The doctors say I don't have long. It was as if my heart was being ripped out of my chest. I remembered looking across the room to see his eyes filled to the brim with tears. Seconds later, tears were streaming out of his eyes like a river. I tried to comfort him, but what do you say to someone who is dying when you yourself are starting to get better? I guess I would just have to make this time with Gray worth every second. He was all I had, the only person I cared about. Gray knew I didn't get along with my family and how much I hated them pretending to care just because I was sick. He never talked about my family unless I brought it up. Gray was respectful like that. However, the day after he told me he didn't have long, he brought my family up. He told me how I was lucky to have my parents and a sister. He told me how I needed to accept my family for who they are and love them unconditionally no matter what. I soon realized maybe he's right. My parents work and my sister is always at school or out with her boyfriend. Maybe they always cared, but it took the cancer for them to show their love. One day, the doctor told me I was getting better, and I could start leaving the hospital for little day trips as long as my health kept up. The next day, my family decided to take me to a picnic with them. I felt bad leaving Gray, but he told me to go and have fun. I spent the entire day living life to the fullest with my family. We laughed and Stella chased me around the park as my mom yelled across the park, Hazel, be careful! I had never been as happy with my family as I was that day. Everything was so good. It was as if I was lying on a cloud with not a worry in mind. We stayed and watched the sunset, and the sky was a cotton candy-colored masterpiece. Sadly, the day eventually came to an end. But at the end of the day, I finally understood why Gray had wanted me to love and accept my family. When I returned to the hospital, I saw tons of nurses crowded by Gray and I's room. As I made my way closer to the 2 sliding glass doors of our room, nurses told me not to go in. I had to. I couldn't not know what was happening. I ran in, shoving and pushing my way through everyone. When I made it in the room, I saw the monitor by Gray's bed was black. I ran and I ran and I ran as fast as I could to the side of his bed. Gray was gone. Liam was standing by the bed, and he came over to me with bloodshot eyes where tears had once formed. I hadn't even realized that I was bawling. I couldn't control anything. All I saw was Gray's smile was gone, and he just lay there cold and still. I not only lost my best friend, but lost my smile and my hope. The pain shot through my whole body, and I turned and I ran out of the room. I ran down the hall and fell to the ground. The people I thought I couldn't count on, my family, were soon embracing me with their love and support. This was the gift Gray had left me with. From the day I met Gray to now writing this, he shaped me into who I am today. I wouldn't have valued my relationships with my parents and sister as much as I do now. Gray taught me to be strong. He was strong and cared about me before anything else. Gray is the one who taught me what my dad's quote meant. Gray didn't know he was strong, but he's the strongest person I've ever known. He taught me to love and accept my family through everything, and I wish Gray could see how much he impacted and changed me. Gray is the reason my family is now my most important value, and I couldn't do anything without them. Without him, all the choices in my life would have been different. Gray will always be remembered. Gray is the love between my family. I hope my son Gray can be as incredible, strong, and can honor him.